Don't be a sleaze merchant. When you look at this guy, you'll say, Bruce, I would never be that guy. And I hope that that's true. But when you've done this as long as I've done this, over the years that I've done it, you find that there's people who end up just a little bit holding things back, not telling the truth. And those things will come back to bite you hard. In this business of business acquisition, your reputation, your word is what you'll trade on. You want to be the guy who they say when you talk to you, that you can count on him to do what he said he was going to do, or her. And conversely, you do not want to be the guy or gal who they say, boy, you better get that in writing because I had to deal with that person, didn't work out very well. And so how does that exhibit itself? A lot of times it's dealing with things that you're uncomfortable dealing with. And so let's take an example. Let's say you want a breakup fee in a deal. Totally understandable. And you explain that as we're going to put a breakup fee in this. The reason for it is we are going to be going forward, doing due diligence on your word that you're going to do this deal with us, and you've signed a document that said you're going to do it. But if you come back and say, I don't want to sell to you, or I want to sell to someone else, or I just don't want to sell, yes, we're going to have a breakup fee which reimburses our expenses. And the only way you'll see that is if you choose not to honor your word. And if that's a problem, then we ought to stop this discussion right now. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people say, well, I'm uncomfortable talking about a breakup fee, so I don't want to mention it yet. Then they end up submitting an LOI. And in that LOI, magically, there is a breakup fee which appears. So for the other side, the seller, they look at that and they say, whoa, we never talked about a breakup fee. I wonder what else is going to be in this deal that we didn't talk about. And now they begin to say, is this, meaning you, a person that I want to do business with? And oftentimes the answer to that will be no. If we're having problems with this, what other problems will we have when we're partners? And essentially for most of these deals, whether it's a 60-40 or whatever it is, you will be partners with them. So I'd encourage you to remember that. A lot of times it's just, I didn't tell everything yet. I want to do that later. No. Be a full disclosure guy. Remember to act with integrity. That will separate you, sadly, from an awful lot of people. But people will notice that when you interact with them. This guy's got integrity. I trust him. Those are things that you are looking to do. And look at that other side of the fence in that way. Look at your potential acquisitions. Look at your professionals. Look at your board members. I've had mentees over the years, and there's one that sticks in my head that said, boy, I've got a fantastic board chairman prospect. And they did some research. They didn't find anything. I spent just a little bit of time and found that that person who wanted to be on a lot of boards in the U.S. had in Europe been sanctioned and essentially was sanctioned for running a Ponzi scheme. You do not want to surround yourself with those people for a lot of reasons. The obvious is that you will be painted with that brush. But your board members typically are more successful than you are, have been doing this for a long time, have great reputations, and one of the things that is a question you should ask is there anything in your background that would cause us a problem or preclude us from getting financing? Now, a lot of people are incredibly scared to ask that question. But when you think about it and then you explain it to the person, I ask that question of everyone. And the reason I ask that question of everyone is we've got people on this board that have great reputations. And I feel it's incumbent upon me, meaning you, to protect those reputations. So I ask this of everyone. And we do background checks on people to confirm that. Easy in today's world with the internet. And they should not take offense at that. If they take offense at that you're protecting the board's reputation, that's the reason you ask those questions, you're probably a next on that person to begin with. But treat these things with integrity, full disclosure. As somebody once said, I imagine that my mother's sitting on my shoulder, and would she be proud of the way I conducted myself? Probably not a bad way to do it. But yes, don't be a sleaze merchant. I'm not saying you will be, but when you are uncomfortable and wonder if you should tell something, I'm not saying you should go overboard and tell every little thing that ever happened to you. Don't give them the bullets to shoot you with. But there are certainly important things, important questions that you should disclose. Be a full disclosure guy and ask the right questions of those around you. And if you do that, you will build a reputation that eventually leads to people contacting you to purchase a business because they've heard about dealing with you. They've heard about your reputation. They've heard about how other deals worked out. And that will serve you well, as opposed to a reputation that's contrary to that. So, super important to remember, and I hope that it helps you. In terms of subjects for these videos, like and subscribe if you like the content. And then certainly send me, Bruce at brucewhipple.com, some subjects that you'd like me to cover. Ultimately, do I know this stuff? Yes. The point of these videos is you may not know this stuff. And so I pick things that should get you to the goal line more quickly and more successfully. That's the reason I do these.